We were looking for a quiet weekend away from the city. Just me, my two best friends, and a secluded cabin deep in the woods. No distractions, no stress. Just a peaceful retreat. The pictures looked great. Cozy fireplace, a big deck with a view of the lake, modern kitchen, perfect. The host sent over the check-in instructions, told us the cabin had been cleaned that morning, and even left us a welcome basket. But when we arrived, something felt wrong. The moment I stepped inside, I felt it. A heaviness in the air, like the place had been abandoned mid-movement. Something was off. The living room was messy. A half-empty coffee cup sat on the table, its contents long dried up. A jacket was draped over the couch, like someone had just left it there and never came back. The worst part? The back door was wide open. Cold air drifted in from the woods, carrying the smell of damp leaves and pine. We exchanged glances. Maybe the cleaners left in a hurry, my friend Jake suggested. Maybe, I muttered, but deep down, I wasn't convinced. We walked further inside. The bedrooms were worse. The bed sheets were ripped, pillows tossed onto the floor. It didn't look like careless housekeeping. It looked like someone had left in a panic. Then in the kitchen, we found the note. It was sitting in the middle of the counter, hastily scribbled on crumpled paper. Do not stay the night. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. Okay, Sarah said slowly. This is creepy as hell. Jake laughed nervously. It's probably a prank from the last guests, but I could see the unease in his face. None of us were laughing anymore. That's when we heard it. A thump from upstairs. We all froze. The house was supposed to be empty. Jake, trying to be the brave one, grabbed a fireplace poker. I followed behind him, my heart pounding. We climbed the stairs slowly, each step creaking under our weight. The hallway stretched before us, lined with 3 doors. The last one, the master bedroom, was slightly open. Jake nudged it with the poker. The room was empty, but the closet door, it was cracked open. Sarah grabbed my arm. Let's go, she whispered. Jake took a deep breath, reached for the closet handle, and yanked it open. Nothing. Just an empty space, some old wooden hangers swaying slightly. We let out shaky laughs, more from nerves than relief. See, Jake said, nothing to worry about. The back door slammed shut downstairs. We ran. We didn't stop to check. We didn't stop to grab our things. We bolted out of that cabin, jumped in the car, and peeled out of the driveway. The next morning I checked the listing. It was gone. No record of the host, no sign the cabin had ever been available for rent. Like it never existed. We never found out who wrote that note, or why the last guests left in such a hurry. The stranger on the security camera. I needed a break from everything. Work, stress, the city noise. So I booked a remote cabin in the woods for the weekend. It was one of those modern minimalist places, all glass windows and sleek wood, deep in the forest with no neighbors for miles. Perfect. The owner was nice, sent over the check-in details, and mentioned the cabin had a security camera at the front door. Just for safety, he said. I didn't think much of it. In fact, I liked the idea. Being out in the woods alone, it felt reassuring to have a way to check the surroundings. The first night was peaceful. I made dinner, had a drink, and read by the fireplace. It was exactly what I needed. Then, around 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Motion detected. Half asleep, I squinted at the notification. It was from the cabin security camera. I hesitated for a second, then clicked the live feed. At first, I didn't see anything. Just the porch, the dark tree line beyond, the faint glow of the moon filtering through the woods. But then, I saw him. A figure stood at the edge of the trees facing the cabin, not moving, not walking closer, just standing there. My heart pounded. The image was grainy in the low light, but I could tell it was a man, tall, still, watching. I stared at the screen, waiting for him to move. Maybe it was a lost hiker, someone who wandered too far off the trail. I waited. He never moved. After a full minute, I opened the cabin door just a crack and peeked out. The woods were empty. I checked the camera again. He was still there, but not in real life, just on the camera. A cold chill ran down my spine. I shut the door, locked it, and turned off the lights inside. Maybe it was a glitch, a trick of the shadows. I forced myself back to bed, but sleep wouldn't come. I kept checking my phone every few minutes. The figure never left the screen. Then, around 3 a.m., another notification. Motion detected. I tapped the feed, my hand shaking. The man was closer. Still at the edge of the woods, but now I could see more details. His clothes were dark and ragged. His face was just wrong. Blurred, twisted, like a distorted image. And his head was slightly tilted, as if listening. That was it. I grabbed my bag, car keys in hand. I wasn't waiting to find out what happened next. As I threw open the front door, the camera feed went black. No error message, no motion alert, just gone. I ran to my car, jumped in, locked the doors, and sped down the dirt road without looking back. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. It wasn't until I reached the main road that I finally pulled over, trying to catch my breath. Then, one last notification. I looked down at my phone. Security camera. Footage deleted. I never told the cabin owner what happened. I didn't want to hear any explanations. I never went back. But sometimes, late at night when my phone buzzes, I still hesitate before checking the camera. The sound in the walls. I never believed in ghost stories. That's why I didn't think twice when I booked a remote cabin in the woods for a solo weekend getaway. The listing was perfect. Cozy, rustic, and just isolated enough for some peace and quiet. The owner mentioned the cabin was old but well maintained. Nothing fancy, but it had everything I needed. The first night was normal. I lit the fireplace, cooked a quick dinner, and read on the couch until I dozed off. Then, at exactly 3:07 a.m., I woke up. I wasn't sure why at first. Then I heard it, a scratching noise. At first I thought it was outside, maybe branches scraping against the cabin. But as I lay there, my heart pounding in the silence, I realized it was coming from inside the walls. I held my breath, listening. The sound was faint, like tiny claws scratching against wood. It started near the corner of the room, then slowly moved along the wall. Mice, I told myself, or a squirrel. I rolled over, trying to ignore it. Eventually, the sound faded, and I fell back asleep. The next night, at exactly 3:07 a.m., it happened again. Only this time it was louder. The scratching started in the far corner of the room, then shifted across the walls, slow and deliberate, like something was moving inside. Then a knock. 1, 2, 3. I sat up, my pulse hammering in my ears. I stared at the wall. The air in the cabin felt heavy, thick. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and aimed it at the wall. Nothing. I laughed nervously, trying to shake off the fear. Maybe it was just the wood settling. Maybe the cold air was making the cabin creak. Then, the knock came again. But this time, it knocked back, like it was answering me. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my bag, and was about to throw my things in the car when I saw something on the wooden floorboards, a small pile of dust and splinters. Something had been digging through the wall. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I called the cabin owner. "Hey, weird question," I said, trying to sound casual. "But have you ever heard scratching in the walls?" Silence. Then, finally, "It's still happening?" A chill ran through me. "What do you mean, still?" The owner sighed. "Look, I didn't want to scare you, but we've had complaints before. It's an old cabin. We've checked for pests, but there's nothing there." I swallowed hard. So what's making the noise? Another pause, then, I don't know. That was all I needed to hear. I packed my bags and left that morning, refusing to look back. A week later, the owner texted me. We finally opened up the walls. There was something inside. I stared at the message, heart pounding. What was it? I typed back. No response, just an image. A hole in the wooden wall, deep claw marks gouged into the wood. Something had been trying to get out. I blocked the number and never booked a cabin in the woods again.